Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? Here with another movie review, and there's a documentary called "Doom: The Untold Story of Roger Corman's Fantastic Four." Enjoy Roger Corman's, Fantastic Four. Now, the one thing with Amazon Prime is they have a treasure trove of documentaries that appeal to me about unusual things you might not have heard about. Just I stumbled upon just by accident. King of Arcades, Pepsi versus Coke, a documentary about the band Death. I know on YouTube they had a documentary about the band Violence, and Rob Flynn was on there. He denounced the band, saying like no one cared about. I always liked the band Violence. When they were around, I didn't care for the last album that was like European or something like that. That was, I'd have to hear it again, but I didn't like that. But I like the other albums. Well, anyways, as a kid growing up, I grew up in this '68. 70s and 80s kid. One of the biggest things, like, the kids would, like, they usually be one-sided about, like, two rivalries. First of all, it was, like, Matchbox versus Hot Wheels. Because my mother, for whatever, she always bought me Matchbox stuff. I mean, I think I had, like, a hat that said Matchbox or shoes that said Matchbox when I was in elementary school. And then I brought in the kids, like, Matchbox sucks. Hot Wheels are far cooler. I like both Hot Wheels and Matchbox, but she bought me Matchbox stuff. I don't know why. She just said, I'm just buying the Matchbox. Oh, I think she bought me Matchbox because it was cheaper. Some of her grandmother's showing through. Or something. I don't know. But they were both cool. And then you don't hear about Matchboxes anymore. I mean, it's more Hot Wheels and stuff. And then Marvel versus DC. And they're always like, Marvel's awesome, DC sucks. DC something my grandfather would read. And these are like so cynical little kids. But I mean, Marvel was, in a way, I mean, I love both comic books, DC and Marvel. Those are the big rivalries. They never did Star Wars versus Star Trek. I don't think kids cared. You know what I mean? They just talked about what they wanted to talk about. Some of the kids were like little pompous assholes. Or I think they knew more than and they didn't. Well, anyways, the one thing with Marvel is they were pretty much cursed as far as like I'm not talking about Saturday morning cartoons. That's different. But as far as like, because they had that great Ralph Bakshi Spider-Man in the '60s. That cartoon's cool as hell. It would have been cool if they had Spider-Man doing a Fritz the Cat impersonation. But I mean that came out. Spider-Man came out before he did Fritz the Cat. He'd be like, Spider-Man would be like, you go over here, you go over here, you go over here, you go over here, you go over here. If you know Fritz the Cat, you know what I'm talking about. The Fritz the Cat was like the world's first mainstream X-rated cartoon. Well, I don't mean porno, but I mean when rating, when X-rated was like a real rating besides not porno. I mean like Midnight Cowboy, Last Tango in Paris, stuff like that was X-rated. And then they came back and they were like NC-17 or whatever. I mean, years later, and then they finally showed them on cable. Beyond the Valley of the Dolls was X, I think. I'm getting off topic, but I mean, Marvel was cursed as far as like TV and movies went for the longest time because, DC first had the first TV shows with Superman and Batman. And they had those great Max Fleischer cartoons that played in theaters. And they had like some movie heroes with Superman. I love the George Reeves Superman. And then Batman, I didn't know there was a Batman movie out until I was in Germany. I knew about the TV show, but I didn't know there was a movie. I love those shows. And then with Marvel, they had like the TV shows. I liked it, but they weren't really successful except for Incredible Hulk. And in my opinion, Lou Ferrigno will always be the original Incredible Hulk because he played it as like a real actor. It wasn't just a CGI creation. But I like that Spider-Man, 70s Spider-Man no one remembers. Or they used to have Spider-Man vignettes on Electric Company. And then they had Captain America and Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange I wasn't allowed to see because it was on too late. And then my dad said, I ain't letting you watch anything called Doctor Strange. Or Mom was like that. No, I watch Doctor Strange. You're not allowed to watch it because it's called Doctor Strange. Whatever. John saw it and he said it was cool. But I didn't see it till years later on YouTube. The 2 hour I don't know how many episodes of the movie. I saw like a 2 hour TV movie of Doctor Strange. I remember the Captain America, Red Brown, and stuff like that. Then Marvel had Howard the Duck. Everyone remembers what a flop that was. Even though I liked Howard the Duck. I mean, but it was a $40 million budget movie that I think made $12 million, and that was it. John Satan just never saw it because he said he heard it was gone. I didn't mind Howard the Duck. I've seen some really bad movies, and Howard the Duck isn't that bad. People say it is. Some people might not like it, but I thought it was all right. But he liked The Punisher from New World, and that took me forever to see. I finally saw it. I thought The Punisher, I thought that sucked. There was TV movies with the Hulk, like Return of the Incredible Hulk that had like Thor as like a surfer guy. They're so cheesy, but I mean I enjoyed it for what they were. And then my dad, I watched it with AJ. I knew there wasn't that much violence in it. I remember watching AJ when he was little. And he's seen with him running in Thor running to save Bruce Banner, saying, "Oh!" Then my dad started laughing his ass off. It was pretty funny. I remember Death of the Incredible Hulk. I cried at the end of that. And then Trial of the Incredible Hulk, which I didn't see 2 years later when they had Daredevil. I can't remember who played his. I want to say it's not Rex Reed, Rex Harrison or something like that played Daredevil. And then they had that, what else they had? The Captain America movie, which was, people hated that too, but I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it. My dad liked the movie. Well, my dad likes the character Red Skull. That was the one with Ned Beatty in from 90 or 91. I saw that in Fort Detrick, Maryland. Like I said, I didn't see Batman. Batman actually played in the theater when I was in Germany. I wish I would have seen it, but I didn't see it in the theater. I remember renting it, though. Or maybe it played in the theater after I saw it or something. Man, it would have been cool seeing it in the theater. I should have done it by then. That's not the Michael Keaton. That's the old Adam West Batman TV show that became a movie. When I say I don't mean Batman movie. And like I said, with DC, they had like the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, which were really big budget. Movies like, I remember seeing that for my birthday in 79, and it had the Superman 2, and then Superman 3 and 4 weren't as good. Superman 3 was the very first movie I saw on VHS. But with Marvel, the Saturday morning cartoon was good. There was an X-Men cartoon came out in 92. It was on Fox, ran for 5 years. That was a damn good show. I think Marvel finally came in their own with Men in Black. Well, anyways, getting back to the Roger Corman's Fantastic Four in 93, I didn't know this movie existed. And I remember reading a book about bad movies or something like that, and the guy was talking about a list of bad, and he's like, what I, like, stuff I would review, well, a lot of stuff and stuff, but he talked about it, and I said, I never heard of this damn movie. I never knew it existed. Made in 93, and I guess it was made, and now the documentary, see, I'm getting off track, the documentary is about, the talking to the cast and crew and making it, and they talk to Roger Corman is always very cheerful. And also Lloyd Kaufman. Now, what happened was Constantine Film, the deal was they wanted to make a Fantastic Four. They wanted to start shooting in order to keep the film rights. So first of all, they went to Troma and they said, I hear you can make movies cheap. And they were just going to give them $1 million just to start shooting a movie and then just scrap it, just to keep the rights. And Lloyd Kaufman said, well, I don't see any real profit for any of us or anything like that, so we're going to pass. Even though he did do Toxic Avenger, and Marvel made Toxic Avenger in the comic book. And then it went up with Roger Corman. I think Roger Corman put in $750,000. And the other guy put it, or something like that. He said the budget's $1 million, but I think they put in 1.5. And they talked to the cast and crew, and they were really excited to be in the movie. They were very excited. And they said this is going to be a big deal about it. They were happy to say, I love Fantastic Four. And they talk about that. And then, when they were talking about making the movie and stuff like that, they said it was on a shoestring budget, so they had to make it work. And a lot of the Roger Corman movies are like that, and they did make it work. They talk about Carnosaur, which played in theaters. That was low budget, but a good movie. And He says things started to go weird when we were in post production. It's like they kind of like put on the shelf or looking for special effects. They kind of just set it aside, and these people started spending their own money to get the movie finished, and they were really happy about it. They went to Comic-Con, all these press releases and stuff like that, and they said Stan Lee was on the set. He was really enthused about it, and then when it got closer to wrap up, he was at Comic-Con. Someone asked him, what do you think about Fantastic Four? And he said, well, I don't think much of it. And then he said, like, he didn't have anything to do with it getting made, and the guy said, you were on set and you brought donuts and stuff. And he said, that was the last of the properties, because a lot of times, like, lawyers would give out properties to movie companies, and he said, and Marvel didn't have much say about it. And he said, that's the last time it's going to happen, or something like that. But they talk about them making the movie, and they wanted to make the movie. Sometimes they spent their own money. There was a film, two guys that did the score, and they hired a 40-piece orchestra to do the score. And the score is actually pretty good. I think the recording, and they went to Capitol Records or something, and they spent like $6,000 to $7,000 of their own money to make the score. I mean, like I said, it's still low budget, but more money than I would have. But I mean, it wasn't until years later I saw it. I looked on YouTube, and it was on YouTube. I watched it with my dad, and my dad said, this isn't that bad of a movie. I thought it was all right. That one effect, that one they Reed Richards at the end with the limousine going like this, that was the fakest damn thing I've ever seen in my life. That was so cheap. I mean, effects were pretty bad, but I mean, it was in par with the other Marvel movies, and it was fun in a cheesy way. I liked it. It was okay. It had the most heart out of all the other ones, because the filmmakers really wanted to make a movie, and they really tried their best with limited funds. It was crazy. Mentioned Jody, probably. But I mean, I liked it. I reviewed the movie a long time ago when it came out. And I did see Doctor Strange on there. I think I reviewed that too, I think. But I liked that one. And then, and then I guess they weren't allowed to show it in theaters because people that had the rights were trying to sell it to 20th Century Fox with a big budget one with Jessica Alba and Michael Chiklis and stuff. They said to halt, and they weren't allowed to show it. And then I guess the one guy went to this one dubbing place and said, can you make a copy? And then it eventually went out in bootleg form through VHS and DVD, bootleg DVD. And that's how we got to see it today. And they said, hopefully they'll release it finally and we give the respect it deserves. I mean, it has a lot of heart. These guys really wanted to make a movie. And if you're a filmmaker or you have sympathy for them because it's just Hollywood BS. You know what happened to them. I like the Roger Corman film. It's not the greatest, but it's entertaining. I like the Michael Chiklis one. I saw the first one. I saw the second one. I took my niece and nephew to see Rise of the Silver Surfer at the theater because it's PG rated. I had not seen the 2015 one that they spent a ton of money on. I don't know if that's I heard bad things about it. I still haven't seen that one. Maybe one day. I don't know. But, it's really bad. I don't know. But I mean, I liked it, and the documentary is absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's like, it doesn't seem like it goes by real quick. It seems like they could actually add more to it. Usually with documentaries, all right, that's enough information. This one, they could have added like another 10, 15 minutes. Like the ending credits are just ending credits. They don't have like cast and crew talking anymore during the ending credits. They could have added some more to that. I think the documentary Doomed, what the hell is it called now? Doomed, the Untold Story of Roger Corman's Fantastic Four is fantastic. Yeah, I give it a 10 out of 10. So I hope you liked this video, buddy. I hope Howie Cat watches this too. I talk about comic books some. I mean, I love the Fantastic Four comic book. And I like the three. I have seen the new one. I don't know. But I mean, I think that one, the Roger Corman one, had a lot of heart to it. And they tried to make it PG, family friendly. Roger Corman was always happy. And then Roger Corman said he got checked for $1 million whenever he sold it to him or something like that. And, and the director, I don't think the director never went to do really big stuff, sadly. But, I mean, it's a fascinating movie, and these guys really deserve it. I mean, And that one guy who did Human Torch, he was laughing at the spacesuit spacesuits they had to wear. I mean, it's a fun documentary. I mean, I liked the movie too. I never knew it existed till like 2010 or 11 or something like that because I never heard about it. So I hope you like this documentary review of Doom, the story of untold story of Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. I knew I had to see this. So I hope you liked the video. Until next time, bye. Please take care, my legion. Long-winded, but I got a lot covered.